think people are really gonna gravitate towards Tomko, the Chihuahua with the smart mouth.
Hi, Tim.
Hi.
Guess what? We got our old friend, our longest podcast partner here, Jon Dexter, back today.
It's an honor. Thanks. Nice to see you guys again.
I think, John, you at this stage, we're going to call you the third reliable narrator.
Is that, am I the only person to go on more than once?
Well,
yeah, I think so, isn't it?
No.
Oh, no, wait, we did have one guy that came back twice.
Yeah, but you're definitely the record breaker at number 3, so.
It's nice.
And you've written the most books, so how are things been going? We brought you on because I think you have a few things to talk about here, so we'll leave it up to you. What have you been doing these days? What do you got working on? What are you working on? What do you got coming up? And hey, how have you been?
Good. Well, I have been working on Alpha Dogs, the graphic novel, my first graphic novel I've ever done. It collects Alpha Dogs 1 through 4, which is the first story arc. So if you missed out on any of the other Alpha Dogs, it's a great place to kind of jump in because it all culminates. We begin with our hero of the comic, Buck, seemingly dead on the beach. He's all been shot up. There's a mystery of how he got there. And by the end of issue 4, we find out how he ends up there. And I've heard a lot of people that have been kind of unhappy and are not a fan of a certain character that I don't want to give away the person who shot him, but there's a lot of people that do not like this character anymore. Not that they really were a big fan of theirs anyway, but it's kind of pushed them over the edge. But it all makes sense. And the great thing is if you've already bought all 4 issues of Alpha Dogs, there's a bonus story at the end that is all new for people. That kind of, it's a flashback and it kind of help explains why this person did what they did to Buck and the consequences of those actions on this person. So it's a great graphic novel for those who love dogs or like the comic book of Alpha Dogs. And even though they've bought the first 4 issues to kind of get them all, you get them all in one comic. Plus there's going to be some artwork that was never released that we kind of played around with some ideas for covers that are going to be on there. Some sketches of the characters that have never been shown. And I decided, I'm not 100% sure, but because I can't draw to save my life, the cover of Alpha Dogs, I had to actually kind of do a cut and paste, literally a collage to how I wanted the cover to look, and then show maybe the sketch of the cover and then the final product. I'm not sure about that yet, but I definitely am going to show some artwork that hasn't been seen, some possible sketches of the characters, the very first sketches. So it's pretty cool if you're a fan of Alpha Dogs. It's a fun comic. If you've never heard of Alpha Dogs, it's about this dog named Buck who's been on the run his whole life with his owner and this kind of grumpy old pit bull as well, from mercenaries that are attempting to kidnap the dogs to manipulate their powers. They can heal from any wound. They're smart enough to understand human speech, and they have a heightened strength as well. There's this mercenary group called Black Reckless after them, and they're kind of shown throughout the series. I was a big fan of Game of Thrones, Lost, where you have this huge overall story arc, and then you have the little kind of mini story arc that's going on that culminates to a big finale. And like with Game of Thrones, you have who's going to be the king or queen of the Game of Thrones. Oh, shoot, what was that called? River or something? Wherever Game of Thrones, the kingdom there took place, and then you were kind of had the intermittent of the White Walkers throughout the series. And I've kind of done something similar with Alpha Dogs, as we've got the Black Rock mercenaries that are kind of scattered throughout the books. And then eventually we culminate to a big showdown with them. So I'm just a fan of that big overall story arc, like, how the dogs got their powers. That's the big mystery, is how Buck has these abilities, and we slowly will go through time to eventually figure that out, while at the same time have the mercenaries that live on this island out in the middle of nowhere where they I don't want to give too much away of the story, but there's this island in the middle of nowhere where these mercenaries live, and that are after Buck and Cyrus. So it's a fun story if you like adventure stories, if you like action, and if you're a dog lover. That was a mouthful.
No, it's good. So one of the things I noticed is I've kind of been following Alpha Dogs and your other work, which we'll talk about later, for a while, and some of the, I think a lot of people out there are dog lovers, and I'm a dog lover myself, and sometimes when I see the story, and I've read the story, and it's a good story, and the hero Buck is very similar to, I'm going to say, Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
And so that puts him in all kinds of danger, and it generates a whole bunch of imagery that I've seen people have like really visceral reactions to it. And you're like, whoa, no, it's okay. It's okay, everybody. This is not real. It's a superhero book. You have to read it.
I've caught some flack, people with hurting dogs. Like, hey, it's a comic book. It's not real. And the great thing about Wolverine, why I wanted to use that ability, is because I can shoot Buck, I can do whatever I want to with Buck, and he just heals instantly. I always hated with Spider-Man. There's no way Spider-Man should be alive, because he's always getting shot or broke bones and stuff. And so I just like to have to where Buck, it's such an easy cheat with somebody that can regenerate, because he just gets stabbed and it's terrible, but then he can heal. So yeah, I have caught slack. I watching this, reading this article where they listed like the most, I don't want to say cringeworthy, but the things that really visceral effect that people hate seeing. And, I think number 3 was like people getting shot. Number 2 was a baby dying. Number 1 was a dog dying. It's like a dog just affects people so much more than even a baby. So it's I have caught a little bit slack. So especially when somebody opens up the comic for the first time, like at a Comic Con, they're like, so he heal instantly from the wound. So it's fine.
And we're here to reassure everybody that all the comic book dogs are indeed okay.
Yeah, no comic book dogs were harmed permanently. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
I just found that really interesting. It's kind of, I don't know, I just started looking into a couple of writing, I guess, principles or whatever, and one of them is like, everyone's heard the show don't tell. Another one would be Chekhov's gun, and the other one is like the don't hurt the dog or don't hurt the cat principle.
Yeah.
Which is, but I think all these things are meant to be played with, and you do it really well in a way that works for the book and also makes the, Buck into a really cool hero too, because you see him get put through the ringer. If you can't have a hero that gets put through the ringer, I don't think you really have a very interesting hero there. So, I mean, I think some of that reaction to people once they get into the story and they see how good it is and they kind of see how it turns out, I really hope people give it a chance and just read more into it than what they initially think or whatever, or feel about it. But I don't know. It was just an interesting little tidbit I picked up from following it for a little while. We assure you folks, all the dogs are okay. They're all okay.
Yeah. And I mean, the story's done out of love of my dog. So
yeah, that's the really thing is, and you see that through your work, John. I really do. So I just wanted to mention that because I was one thing I found really interesting. But Dime Store Detective number 3 also came out in the last couple days. I just got my copy yesterday and read it and loved it. And Tim, you've read it too?
Yeah, I did get a chance to read it.
Oh, you were able to download
really
the
good.
PDF
again?
Yeah,
I went with remember PDF you guys saying that you don't know how to work that download stuff. So you're coming into the new
maybe
age.
I was playing a little dumb there to make sure that everybody could figure it out. But I'll go with that story, right?
There you go. Yeah, people have really loved Dime Store 3. I've heard, I heard a lot of good reviews for Alpha Dogs 4 too. But I've heard a lot of people pop up and say how much they like Dime Store Detective 3. And I tell them, if you like the first 4 issues, you're going to really love the next 4, because the first 4 basically are all setting up for the next 4 for those payoffs. So it's I'm glad people like it. I've got one more issue that's got some setup. I mean, there's some payoffs too, but yeah, all hell will break loose after issue 4. I can tell you right now. So if you like the first 4 issues, you're really love the last 4. I don't think anybody's. The cool thing is, I don't think anybody has yet figured out the mystery. I hope not, anyway.
I don't think I have so far yet. No, and but I'm super immersed in it. There's a couple things I'm going to start. If I start now, I'm just gonna start really just hamming it up here. So there's a couple things I want to ask you about before I really get into it. Is with both your books, you're collaborating with a couple of different folks, and just as someone who's interested, Tim and I collaborate on stuff a couple times, and it's an interesting process. Maybe I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about what the whole process is like how what are the challenges, what are the rewards, what kind of things do you see with a collaboration like this? How much input do you have into the artwork, the coloring?
Well, I don't know about most comic creators. I mean, you basically, there's not a whole lot of collaboration in that, it's your comic book. I'm the creator. I'm the writer. I write how the panel's supposed to look. Now, but I still don't get too, I try not to tell them too much to do when it comes to what they envision. The panel size, unless it's something really specific. I wish I had Dime Store 3 in front of me. I should go grab it. But yeah, you write how the panel's supposed to look, and then they draw it, and then they give me the sketch, and I say, do this, do that. I think the only real argument we had was the fighting scene in Dime Store 3 when they smashed the car into the rival gangs, the bar. So they basically had a car and another car, they had the motorcycle and the car going like that. And I said, no. And they had a punch in, and I said, no, I want to see blood. I want to see spit. I want to see, really a visceral, stark, eyeball popping out. And they went above my expectations. They did a great job. The artist, Alfredo, was terrific. Lucas Sharita, he's kind of like the manager. So I hire Stone Tower Studios. They're out of Argentina, and he's the manager. Yeah, that's one of the best car crash scenes I think you're ever going to see. Now, it looked much different in the sketch version, but I felt like it needed to really be in your face. So they worked on it, and a lot. As you can see, I don't know if you're going to the eyeball scene. That was my particular favorite. People have been kind of grossed out, but it's great. And I said, I want to see, let's have, him pop an eyeball. And now I had a little bit different, but he did even better job than what I even envisioned, because I wanted to see the eyeball, and so
surprised by that moment.
It was kind of tough. It's actually one of the toughest panels I think they've ever done, because there's just so much the art. There's so much more into it to get that angle with a car crashing into the motorcycle is actually pretty tough. And so they did a terrific job. So I had another artist for issue 1. It didn't work out, and so then I switched to this other artist. And they're both great artists. It just didn't work out with the first one, but I do like it better now. Dime Store Detectives art, especially. And the cool thing is it seems like every issue they do better. It seems like the comic, the artwork is better. I mean, I heard a lot of people really rave about Alpha Dog's 4's art. There's a great, probably my favorite panel, because what I do is I don't tell you what their powers are, show don't tell. You don't know what their powers are until they actually activate them. So the dog, Shelby, she's running and looks like she's going to be, her and Tomko are going to get into the edge of the yacht. And it's when she grabs them and flies. It's my first double page splash scene. So I'm really proud of it. And the art is just terrific in that panel. It's probably my favorite panel. So,
yeah, that is a good panel and a great moment in the comic too.
I think so too. I think people are really going to gravitate towards Tomko. the Chihuahua with the smart mouth. You've got Tomko, whose ability, it's a Chihuahua. His ability is he has intelligence of, say, a college student, a human. All the dogs have kind of they have a heightened intelligence, but their intelligence is very rudimentary, like a elementary school student. Even Buck, if you notice, Buck is he's very naive. He's got such a great heart. He doesn't really see evil, bad in people unless he absolutely knows it, or if they're going to, hurt his owner. So Tomko's is intelligence, and he's so intelligent that he's kind of a smart ass, as you can see from the comic book. And then Shelby has the ability to leap. I think it's 200 feet that she can jump 200 feet. And I'm not going to tell you, obviously, the other abilities of the other dogs till we reveal in the further issues. But they're all fun powers.
So with the graphic novel, what size is it going to be? Is it the same size as the comics, or
it's same comic book size? It's going to be over 100 pages because all the first 4 issues plus the bonus story. So that's going to be 100 pages, and then, like I said, I'm going to include some content that I haven't shown before, some of the artwork, and of course, I gotta put in the tribute page to Pig, our dog, that I had at the end of issue 4. That was, a lot of people, they liked, but it was sad too. Such is life.
Wow, I had tears in my eyes when I got to that page, man. That was a good page. Yeah. Another question I had. So you have been doing kind of taking these books around to, I guess, want to say the Comic-Con circuits. So you've done a couple of those that I've seen, and I think you had some good experience there, some success. Maybe just tell us a little bit about what that's like as a comic book creator. What are the folks like who are coming up? What's the process like? Does it help you? Does it hurt you? Is it fun? Anything?
It's a grind.
Picture of what that's like.
Yeah, it's a grind, but it's still fun. Day 1 is fun. Day 2 is when it gets really long, but it's fun. I only Comic-Cons I've been to that I plan on going to this year, just Michigan. So if you're going to be in Michigan, if you live in Michigan, I'll be at quite a few. You can go to my social media, which is I'm on. If you type in JONDXTR, Jon Dexter, I should come to the top. And then I'm on Twitter at Real Alpha Dogs, and on Instagram at Alpha_Dogs_comic. And so you can see a lot of the Comic Cons. But yeah, I went to quite a bit last year too. And it's a lot of fun, but it is a little bit of a grind, and you got to hustle. The people that do well are the ones that are standing. You have to stand. You got to grab people. The ones that just sit down and wait for people to come to them, well, they don't know me from Adam, and they don't know most of these guys from Adam. So you really need to, in my opinion, really stand the whole time and pull people in. I did really well at most of the Comic Cons. I broke my record last year. I sold 88 comics at one Comic Con. So for me, that was big for me. Maybe not for Ed Brubaker, somebody else that are established but for nobody like me, I did quite well. The one I'm going to be at the Midland Comic Con. It's at the mall there in Midland, Upper Michigan. Last year I sold 66 comics. So now I've got 2 more titles this year. So it's hopefully I do even better. We'll see.
So once you get the people to kind of come and see what you're doing there, what's their response like? Are most of them kind of pleased, or they come back for more? Have you seen them more than once? Or
yeah, I have. Now I don't know if it happened last year, but the year before it was pretty cool because I had somebody buy an issue 1 of Alpha Dogs, and then the next day they bought the rest of them, which was pretty neat. But yeah, I've had quite a few people that I've only been doing. This is only my 3rd year of doing cons, but in my first year I only did 2. 2 of them. One was at a library, so it kind of. Officially 3 years, but really only 2. This will only really be my 2nd year of doing comic book cons. So I've done quite well, and yeah, it's people have really enjoyed it. And Alpha Dog sells about 3-1 to Dime Store Detective, so the art people really, of course it's a dog, and so they always love that. And Alpha Dog's covers are probably a little more dynamic, pretty a little bit cooler, I guess you could say. But they don't know what they're missing out on because Dime Store Detective is just as good as Alpha Dogs. And I actually, if I had to say what people really like more, I probably, even though, like I said, about 3-1 difference, people really come back for Dime Store Detective. I would say more than Alpha Dogs, but still, I always have sold a lot more than Alpha Dogs. So, but like I said, they're both great comics, in my opinion.
Well, they are both great comics, and I think one of the things that I really like about your comics, so this is the part where I'm going to start gushing like a maniac here, is that you can do both these things. You can do something that's more crowd-pleasing and wide appeal, like Alpha Dogs, and then you can read something like Dime Store Detective. It's hard-hitting, it's gritty, it's real life, it's... how would I say this? It's something where people are who they are, warts and all. There's some rough characters in here, and you don't shy away from that. And I think that's one of the things that I like about both of these is you got the sweet in the Alpha Dogs, and then you got the there's my dogs. Oh, that's going to make it on the
good timing.
It's perfect timing. No, one of the things I was saying is that you kind of, you're a good writer. You operate in both these kind of worlds, and both stories really work on their own level. I'm just really impressed here. So one of the things that that I really like with your latest issue of Dime Store Detectives is, I don't know, I think you and I have the same movie tastes.
I probably.
And so I'm going to quiz you here. Like when I'm reading this, I saw a little bit of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I've never watched Twin Peaks.
I don't know if that's in there.
I've never watched Twin Peaks.
Okay, well.
It's one of those shows that it just seems too weird. Now, I do love David Lynch, some of his work, but I've actually never seen Twin Peaks. Why? Well, what's the correlation?
Just with the, there's a part in here where they go and they talk to a kid on the football field who's like an ex-boyfriend sort of thing, or an ex-love interest of the victim. And just that whole scene, like, this scene where there's a girl in the town and she's kind of, there's a backstory to her, it seems, where some crazy stuff was happening there. That's very similar. That's very similar in theme.
Okay.
There's I think if you watch the first episode of it, it's a good comparison.
Okay.
The other one too is Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes, Eyes Wide Shut. Yep. There's definitely some similarities with Eyes Wide Shut. I loved Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, there's a hint of that in here, and it works really well. It's really cool. And you and I, before we started recording, we were talking about how this issue here is one of your more dialogue-heavy issues. And I think the big kicker for me was like the real dialogue here, whereas, you got these gritty detectives, they're investigating something that's super messed up. One of them has kind of a checkered, shady past, or, a family past that he's trying to shake the cobwebs from. And they just speak like that person would speak in real life. That would be a no nonsense person. And they don't, he doesn't get up to any nonsense. And his partner, the lady he's with, I'm sorry, I can't remember the character names.
Detective her real name is Blanche, is her first name, and she hates Blanche. And she doesn't want, if you remember this issue too, she pushed him out the door, pissed off because he used her first name. She hates, it's a family name that you find out has been passed down. But anyway, she hates the name Blanche. So everybody calls her Kelly as for her last name, Detective Kelly. It just, you want to make your characters real. And to me, you want to add little tangents like that to make them real people. And so that's kind of where that came from, having that first name that and she's also, I guess, sometimes subconsciously you mold this character and she wants to be respected and she wants to be, upper echelon there. And so she's kind of, I guess, hiding from who she really is, which I guess I just realized that now as I'm saying, I didn't realize why I did it, but I guess it's just subconsciously she's kind of trying to be somebody else. So I didn't really realize till just now that's probably why I did that. Weird. Anyway, so yeah.
Well, there's a great moment with her and McKinder in here where they're in the middle of an investigation. They're interviewing a witness sort of thing. Her approach is very different than the one that McKinder is taking. And it's not working for him. And she does something there
Yeah, he's very rough.
And I was reading that, and I thought that is just such a great moment. It's such a good little piece to write in there, and it takes him kind of away from the thing and puts her in the focus. And I just thought, like, in real life, that would happen. Mm-hmm. And just good character moments, strong character stuff in here, and the visuals, man. I got to tell you, when you kind of shock me with a cut from one page to another, where it just is like this, black and white silhouette to a color one. Mm-hmm. And then the next 4 or 5 pages we get are a black and white action scene. This is hot stuff, buddy.
Oh, thanks.
This is amazing.
Thanks. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give the credit to the artist there with those two next to each other like that, because I did not have that in my head. I had, the panel where you switch right there, but he's the one that put them next to each other like that. And that was a great idea of his, that transition, whether sitting the same position in the car. That's actually, I had him sitting like that, but I didn't have him in that position. So that's actually the artist did that, and he should get the props for that. And he doesn't have any eyeballs, which was cool.
Oh, great job, Alfredo.
Yeah. Yep. He did a terrific job. He's a terrific artist.
Yeah. So he did also issue 2?
Half of issue 2. He did the flashbacks, and the other artist did the present time. And because the problem was I really liked I didn't love the artist. I liked the artist for the Dime Store 1. Some of his art, it was good. It wasn't as good as Alfredo's. But the only bad part with going with a different artist is that the artist for issue 1 had the originals. So that's the only original, because everybody else does digital. So I only have originals for any of my comics from issue 1, which I sold a decent, some of them in the Kickstarter. So I might sell 1 or 2 originals for issue 4 just to kind of help fund that. But I really don't want to, because I love, obviously, you love the originals, and those are the only originals I own. So I probably won't maybe I sell like 1 or 2 originals for the next Kickstarter. That'll have to be it, because I don't want to give away any of my originals. But getting back to Eyes Wide Shut, the similarity, I don't know if you realize, hopefully people realize this, they're dressing all to what they think the being looks like, the evil entity. So they're all wearing those black hoods, and the masks are all the same, because they're all trying to emulate what the entity looks like. I don't know if you caught that or not. Some people caught it, some people didn't. The masks are supposed to be what it looks like.
Oh, no, I didn't.
That's why the masks are all the same mask and all the same robes, because that's what they envision. They've never seen the entity. Not to give too much away, but it's only spoke to them, as you can, at the end through the fire.
Yeah, there's some great moments in this where you made me kind of forget that I was reading something with like a supernatural vibe, and then when I got to the end, I don't want to spoil the end, but there's some supernatural moments that kind of come into play, and it brought me right back into it, and I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. So
yeah, I was dying to write that speech at the end for many months, because I'd come up with it, and I thought, boy, that's really great. And so I've been waiting to write that line, because I think it's a great speech, not to toot my own horn, but I like it. I told my wife when I said, this is the greatest thing, I told her, she's like, yeah, it's cool.
That is the wives keep us humble, don't they?
Yes, they do.
If they're really impressed, then you've really done a good job. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know that. So coming up next, so people are going to be able to find you at some upcoming Comic-Cons. You've got, again, we're just going to go through all the stuff. We got an Alpha Dogs graphic novel coming out.
Yeah, that's going to be launching March 5th on Kickstarter. It's not. I put a pretty low reward because the comic is pretty much done. It's a collection of all 4 issues, and the artwork for the bonus story is done. They're just finishing the coloring, so it's not going to be a long wait before. It's not going to be a long wait to get your hands on the graphic novel. So you can get it like I said, we launched March 5th at 8 p.m., I think, Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be a 30-day Kickstarter. And it'll probably be a month before I'll start mailing them out because it's, like I said, the comic's done for the most part. And then I'll be starting in on Dinosaur Detective 4. So, but we need to, raise that money for the graphic novel to get to the next one. That's basically what I do. I raise the money for one Kickstarter. It just goes into the next Kickstarter. I'm still in the red. So, but hopefully the great thing about a graphic novel, it's the cheapest you're going to do because it's of the comics you've already printed, with the exception of this one. Like I said, I have a bonus story. So if people are fans of the first 4 issues, they'll really like this because this is a flashback, and we have a 2-year-old buck in here, a little buck in the flashback bonus story, and they're going to save Ina. She's been captured by BlackRock mercenaries, and it's not to give anything away, but it's an exciting story, and people will really enjoy it. And like I said, if you've never read Alpha Dogs, it's a great jumping in point because it's the beginning and end of the first story arc. We start with a mystery in issue 1. Page 1, issue 1, basically, we start with the mystery, and at the end, it's revealed how he ends up on the beach. And we have Chihuahuas, Siberian Huskies, Cocker Spaniels, and of course, Pit Bulls. So, yeah, there's a large array of different breeds that are fun. They have their own personalities, very distinct personalities too. And it's a really fun story, especially if you like mysteries, if you like adventure stories. And, Buck is, a lot of people love the dog Buck because everybody most everybody at one point has had a pet that's meant a lot to them, like our dog did. And he was with us for almost 14 years. We had lived in this town that had outlawed pit bulls. And so we had the choice to move or get rid of the dog. So, of course, we moved. And that was the genesis of wanting to create this story about this dog that is feared by humans because of his breed and size, but he actually has a huge heart. And Buck, as you've read in the stories, has sacrificed himself. And in Alpha Dogs, the yacht is sinking. It exploded. And sinking. Instead of running off with his owner, he runs back to perhaps certain doom, and it frees the other dogs and wants to get them off the boat. There's in issue 3. His owner wants him to follow her, but he wants to free the other dogs. So he busts open the door, and that's when we meet. That's when they're captured by, Salem, who has been chasing the dogs for a while now. And fate, God, however you want to call it, kind of brings them all together. And, it makes for an exciting story when, this guy who's this, diabolical, evil genius like Salem, and there's a mystery that is threaded throughout the story of how the dogs got their powers and how Salem found out about the dogs and who told them. And, so if you like stories like Lost or Game of Thrones, and of course, Beverly Hills Chihuahua, then you'll like Alpha Dogs. Not quite Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
So one more question is, now that you've had a few campaigns out there on Kickstarter and you've put out several books now, seven books now. Yeah. Do you get feedback occasionally or like in person or in messages or anything like that? And I guess the next part of that would be, when you get the feedback, are you ever surprised on who your audience is?
Yeah, I'm surprised how many women buy my comics. I really am. There's a lot of fans that are female that like Dinosaur Detective and Alpha Dogs, and especially Alpha Dog, just for the fact that the dog's getting hurt. But yeah, there's quite a more female fans than what I thought there would be. It's even with Dinosaur Detective. I'm surprised. So it's really cool that more female. There's more female comic book readers than I even realized. And as far as feedback, yeah, I get quite a bit. Well, Alpha Dogs issue 1 actually will be revised. So Alpha Dogs issue 1, there was some of it that I just didn't like. It's your first one, so you make a lot of mistakes. So Actually, Alpha Dogs 1 will be a revised edition. So it's going to be actually a little bit different. And of all the comics that I've written, the only one that people I've really ever got any, that they didn't really, I don't want to say like it, but didn't really blow them away was Alpha Dogs issue 1. And I kind of understood why. And there were certain things I wish I could have done different. So at the very least, I've changed some of the dialogue in issue 1 of Alpha Dogs. And I think it's definitely a better version, a cleaner version. So if you've read issue 1, I hope you'll, I think, pick up on a few subtle differences. It's not hugely different, but there was a few things that I wanted to change that I did with issue 1. So of all the comics that I've done, the only one that some people have said, was issue 1 of Alpha Dogs. Everything else people have really enjoyed. And the Kickstarters have been slowly growing in backers too. So must be doing something right.
It's fascinating when you find out who's reading your stuff and responding to it, because sometimes it's not who you think. And again, that's an answer you think about who would be buying comic books, and you think it would be a bunch of 40-year-old nerd guys like myself. And
actually,
those
that's
are not the case, I guess. The other thing, probably the thing is too, is that I'm going to give you one more kudos here. Is that I think I probably already have, but this one here is, like I said before, you got kind of two worlds here. One that's a bit more palatable and family friendly, and then this other one that's just kind of more gritty in real life. But this is for adults. Like, not that it's really super graphic. It's got graphic moments. It's not like, but it's meant for someone who's wants to read something grown up.
Yeah, and, definitely.
You don't see a whole lot of that anymore.
No.
I shouldn't say that. I sound like an old fart. You don't see enough of that these days. I think a lot of stuff is kind of pablumized, and it's nice to have something that is just kind of, stimulating for an adult to read on an adult level, right?
Yeah, I've told
not pandering to.
Yeah, I've told that when I describe it to people at cons, I tell them it's Dumpster Detective is like if you take True Detective meets Stephen King's It, then that's the best way to describe Dumpster Detective for me anyway. It's very gritty. It's very that 19. Well, the main character's name is Mackinder, and that comes from two actually inspirations. So back, I don't know if you're a fan of the movies from the 40s, but I am. American movies from the 1940s. Instead of saying dude, they say Mac. Hey, Mac. So that's where Mackinder came from. Plus, a guy who was in my high school. I was just this nerdy kid, and he was the homecoming king. He was very, very, superstardom in my high school, my little high school. And he could have been a jerk to me because I was just a kid. But he treated everybody like he was your best friend. He was just such a great guy. And his name was Troy Mackinder. And unfortunately, he died. He had throat cancer and died back in 2018. I think he was probably mid-40s. And so it was kind of a tribute to him, too. And I mean, Mackinder is just such a cool detective name, too. So it kind of worked on all the ends.
Oh, I don't know, another inspiration in there from real life. That's pretty cool that you could do that.
Yeah,
and that you pick someone out that was running against type. I guess I want to say running against type. You wouldn't think that would be the. That was not my high school experience. That guy, if that guy was like that, he was a mean guy to me. But
no, exactly, and that was the thing is he treated the geeks, anybody, nerds, whatever, kids, all equal, and he was just a great guy. He actually went out to Hollywood to make it as an actor. If you ever watch, remember Scooby-Doo back in the 90s with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr.? It's been a while.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where they pull these ghost faces out of a cauldron. And his face is and he says something like, I don't remember what he says, but his face is pulled out and he says something. And so that was like, I tell you what, it was like Elvis came to town, it was such a big deal in my town that he had that little part in the Scooby-Doo movie. It was everybody talked about. He ended up moving to Australia and became a coached actors to learn American dialogue. So that's where he passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, you can find interviews for him, I'm sure. But yeah, he was a good guy. He was a great guy. So much too soon. So hopefully Dumpster Detective can really blow up, and maybe I can give them issues and tell them why one of the inspirations behind the name.
Well, that's great, man. I'm glad that he gets a chance to kind of live on in your comic book, because it's a cool character, and I think it does. I don't know. It's just great, man. I respect you a lot, Jon, and I really appreciate what you're doing here. And I'm just going to say I hope you keep it up.
No, thank you. I really appreciate
it. And just keep slugging it out. I know it's a grind. That's what everybody says, is it's a grind, especially breaking into the comic book industry.
You do it for the passion. You do it for the love of it, because Lord knows you ain't doing it for the money.
Yeah, it's tough. The starving artist thing.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer. If you do it for the passion, for the love of it, and you're good at it, that eventually, you'll make it. Talent will always win out eventually. Some people, it takes a year, some 6 months, some 10 years, some 20 years. I always tell my wife, you wait, it's going to be really popular after I'm dead, and your new boyfriend can live off my residuals.
That's dark. I like it. No, it's great. I think what you said there is rings true. Like you definitely have the writing talent, and your passion kind of shines through for this. And it's an honest work. Both Alpha Dogs and this one, I think, come from a great place. They're both honest works, and I really enjoy both of them. So the more we can have you on, the better off we are. But we've lost Tim permanently here.
I see that.
So he's in a hotel
in Alaska. Like that,
he's pretty
true to new season of True Detective.
Yeah, there's no internet where he is, so he's in a hotel. But no, they just decided his room doesn't get any more internet. So
I guess not.
Sorry, Tim.
But
you'll have to listen to the whole thing now to find out what we said.
If your listeners want Dumpster Detective or Alpha Dogs, March 5th on Kickstarter, and I ship to Canada. I ship to some other countries as well, and of course the United States. But the digital rewards are free, and that's the cheapest way to go. If they don't want to pay for shipping, they can get the digital graphic novel. And however, and you can get Alpha Dogs and Dumpster Detective. But if you want Dumpster Detective, it'll be in the physical form. I'm only selling the digital of Alpha Dogs, because this is the Alpha Dogs campaign. So, but you can, if you live in Canada or the United States, you can get all those comics shipped to you. There's one tier where it's every comic I've made, all 3 issues of Dumpster Detective and the graphic novel of Alpha Dogs 2. So look out for March 5th. You can just type in Alpha Dogs or Dumpster Detective or my name, Jon Dexter, and it'll pop right up.
And of course, one more thing is that you managed to get this comic book or all your books into a comic store in Michigan.
Yeah, locally. Yeah, I think I'm in 7 comic book stores now. So I don't really go very far, because it costs me, being just a little guy, a much more to print up my comics than, say, a Marvel or DC. Their comic costs probably 30 cents to print up, where mine costs me, excess of $2. So I can't really justify shipping my comics unless they're going to do a huge order. So they have to be in driving distance. But yeah, I'm in Lansing, I'm in Kalamazoo, Chelsea, and I just got accepted. I'm pretty excited to the Vault of Midnight in Ann Arbor. They don't have the comic yet, but they're going to start out with the first issue of Dime Store Detective. So we'll see how it runs, see how it goes. But yeah, so if you're in Ann Arbor, please go buy up. There's only going to be 4 issues of Dime Store Detective 1 there. So depending on how that sells, will be, if they expand my order to other, they own four stores, Detroit, and a few other ones. So my hope is that Dumpster Detective sells enough of issue 1 to get my Alpha Dogs and get all the issues of my comics. So we'll see.
Oh, that's fantastic. I know it's a big deal. It makes you feel like it makes you feel good when your book is on the shelf in a store. To me, it just feels like that'd be like a big official moment, you know. You've arrived. You can walk in there and see your name up there, and
it's really
your
cool.
work, and
and definitely, and they've done pretty decent actually. It's nice of them too, because some of the people, because I'm a local, they put my pretty prominent on display. I went to Chelsea, which is Chelsea's a decent, about 5,000 people, and it's close to Ann Arbor. And there's 2 comic book stores, and I put my comic books in there, and they sold out. So it was pretty cool that they sold out. But they put them prominently because, I live 40 minutes from there. So it's pretty cool. So actually tomorrow I'm going to restock over there. So.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we appreciate you coming to talk to us, and we'll let people know they can find your work. We'll put a link up when we put the podcast out to your Kickstarters, your Alpha Dogs campaign, and definitely, if you're listening, check those out. Give Jon's Comics a good chance. Don't believe what you see. The dogs are all okay.
Yes. The dogs were harmed in the drawing of this comic.
Yeah, a couple pencils bit the dust, but the dogs are great, right?
Exactly.
So,
well, I appreciate having me on and giving me a platform to talk about my comics and buying my comics. It's a big deal for me. I truly appreciate anybody that's willing to pluck down their money, especially you, because the shipping's so damn expensive to Canada, to support me.
Yeah, I don't buy too many comics, but yours are I don't miss any of them. So, yeah, I just appreciate there's stuff like this out there that's fun to read and is engaging enough that I want to go back and read some more of it. I can't wait until Dime Store number 4, and I'm looking forward to your Alpha Dogs backstory too. So
thank you.
I'll be reading everything you got, Jon. But
thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
We'll cut you loose. It's later there than it is here. So again, thanks for coming on, and it's been a slice.
Thanks.
All right, take it easy, Jon.
I'll see you.
Likes looking after cows.
Get dogs. Do you like dogs?
Dags.
What?
Yeah, dogs.
Dogs. Do you like dogs?
Oh, dogs. Sure. I like dags.